While we're talking about Khatabook, we're going to be getting a very special interview. We're talking about $25 million in funding investors, the likes of Tencent, GGV, Sequoia Capital. What's Khatabook all about? Why has it made such a name for itself? What is impressing investors? What's the future growth plans as far as Khatabook goes? We're now joined by Ravish Naresh, the CEO at Khatabook.com. Ravish, good evening. Welcome to Startup Central. Congratulations, Series A funding done, $25 million logged into Khatabook. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the viewers who are tuning in? Why is it you have become so successful, particularly when we look at small trading shops as well as SMEs?
So India has a huge ecosystem of small businesses and shopkeepers. This market was completely unaddressed before. And over the last couple of years, post the launch of Reliance Jio, a lot of these folks have come online, and we are basically addressing that opportunity.
So, now that you've got $25 million, can you tell me what you plan to do with the money? What's next for Khatabook?
So primarily, we'll be spending the raised capital to scale our technology team, and we'll be building a lot more products that are relevant for our merchant ecosystem to help them manage their businesses better.
Do you want to share with us who all have been part of the latest funding round?
So the round saw participation from DST partners, Tencent, GGV, Sequoia India, Hummingbird, RTP Global Ventures, and Y Combinator, and a bunch of angels.
So, you've given us a snapshot of how much money you have raised, what you are going to do with the money. Now let's talk about Khatabook. Tell us how you came up with the idea, the genesis of it, the difficulties you might have faced in the initial days, and of course, getting people to just sign up and be a part of it.
Sure. So when I left my previous venture, housing.com, in 2016, it was an interesting year for Indian fintech. So demonetization had happened, UPI had been launched, and most importantly, Jio had launched. Now, Jio was adding millions of users every month, and most of these users were coming from tier 2 and beyond. And we saw that most of these users were actually dealing in cash, and that's where we saw the gap and started working on a simple cash management tool. And we launched this in late last year, December 2018. And instantly it started going viral because we had found product market fit.
So tell me, how many merchants do you have already?
We have over 5 million registrations and 3 million monthly active merchants on the platform right now. And these users are across. Sorry, go ahead.
When I was researching on you before you came for the interview, I believe that not only are you in 3,000 cities and towns in India, you also have a presence in Nepal and Pakistan. Is that correct? You have a presence in Pakistan, and how does that pan out given all that's happening between the two countries?
So actually, if you see the shopkeeper ecosystem and the behavior is fairly similar across the Indian subcontinent. So what we were solving for the Indian shopkeeper is extremely relevant for across the subcontinent. So we have users across Nepal, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and in fact, even Middle East and some even in Southeast Asia.
But having a presence in Pakistan, of course, there would be similar consumer patterns. We all used to be one country. As a Punjabi, I can tell you, with my ancestors, we have a lot in common when it comes to the cultural aspects. But you've never faced any regulatory problems, any issues or anything like that because you also have a presence in Pakistan?
No, so actually we don't have a physical presence. From India, you can launch an app that is global, on Play Store, on iOS, Apple Store, and these apps are essentially global in nature. So you can be effectively sitting from India and basically be working for every country.
Okay, so let's move on from that. Now, I want to ask you, What are the big lessons you brought from housing.com to Khatabook.com? You know, like in the startup universe, every day you learn something new. When it looks very grandiose when you have a successful story, but it usually comes with a string of hardships and failures. And that happened with you folks at housing.com, right?
Correct. So housing was, I would say, was the first venture right after college. I would say we were like 23-year-old kids who were handed around $100 million. And so that gave us a lot of, I would say it was a humbling experience. We got too much capital too early on, and we basically we scaled the company a lot faster, and there was a lot of gap between the fundamentals and the valuation of the company. So basically have brought in those lessons forward towards Khatabook. So we are a lot more capital efficient. Over the last 9 months, to reach to 3 million monthly actives, we have just spent like around $2 million. Rest of the capital we still have in the bank. So, capital efficiency is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned at housing.
And you've also been part of Sequoia's scale-up program. It's coveted. Those who don't make it perhaps are very envious of you at the moment. How did that go? What were the big learnings? How do you apply for it? How do you get shortlisted? Anything you want to share with the entrepreneurs and founders that are tuning into Startup Central?
So Sequoia was, in fact, the search program for us was very helpful. I had a great time with Team Sequoia, and they helped us a lot in the initial part of the journey. Especially my partner Shailendra and Prateek Sharma. Grateful to them and just wanted to mention their names. So we basically apply through an online form. You just need to fill out that form, and you can just schedule an interview. And the search program has 2 cohorts per year that roughly select around 20 companies per batch. And I would recommend it to every early stage startup.
And before I let you go, I also wanted to ask you that, as you expand Khatabook.com, as you get more and more merchants on Khatabook, anything interesting that you've seen with merchants, their habits when it comes to logging on as they switch from the cash locker system to actually logging things in the online world?
No, correct. So it has surprisingly improved their efficiency a lot. So basically, software automates a lot of stuff that they were doing manually before. So we have automated, like automated. We send out automated reminders through your Khatabook app. So their cash flow situation has improved. They don't have to do, end of the day, they don't have to total up how much sales that they have done. Khatabook automatically does all that. So we save an hour or 2 every day of every shopkeeper. They're able to, return home on time. Their life quality improves. Their cash flow situation improves. So overall, it's hugely beneficial, and the adoption has been fairly fast for that same reason.
Is it actually word of mouth as well? Like you basically have to go get maybe 1 or 2, and then by word of mouth, they tell their family members, friends, etc. Does it work like that? Because I'm sure initially there must have been a lot of hesitancy and quite a challenge for you to get the first set of guys on board, right?
But then, after we got the first set of guys, since it was so useful for them, the word started spreading, and merchant communities being tight-knit, the word spreads really fast. So given that it was so useful and it improved their existing situation so much more, we got fairly fast adoption.
With that, I'm going to thank you for joining us here on Startup Central, for being so candid. That's Khatabook.com for you. It's impressed a whole host of who's who of the investor world. And as far as that funding round goes, a little over $25 million. You now know about some of the payment plans at Khatabook as well. Look forward to many more interviews. Thanks a lot for being a part of Startup Central.
Thank you. Bye-bye.